presentation targeting the students, radiographer, technician, and technologists who are new in the field of radio imaging. And by the end of this presentation, radiographer will be able to understand different working environment with hospital and their role in patient care. So before I actually start with the presentation, uh, just I would like to mention a kind of disclaimer that this presentation may contain few disturbing images for viewers, but sole purpose of including these images is to introduce students radiographer to diverse patient condition which may they encounter in their professional life. So this PPT may contain a few images which you may find it will be disturbing, but my purpose for this is to include these images so that you will be familiar with such working conditions. So before I actually start the condition, the environment of hospital, it is fair enough that first of all we read the history. We know the history of mobile radiography or mobile radiography. So after discovery of X-ray in 1895, as we all know that Sir Ranjan has discovered in 1895, and the X-ray was widely used by doctor and surgeon to guide them in their work. And it was only 6 months after Ranjan announced his discovery, the X-ray were generally used in a battlefield for physician to locate the bullets in wounded soldiers. So it was around the period of First World War. Uh, so we can say that the use of X-rays actually came into the field, came into the scenario in the period of First World War. The scientists invented a mobile X-ray unit. So the first discovery of mobile X-ray unit was done in the period of First World War, and it was named as a Little Curie. Around 150 women were trained to operate such mobile X-ray units, and it was named after Marie Curie, as she played a very vital role in developing this mobile X-ray unit. So we can see in this image that she is Miss Curie. She is driving a kind of a car which consists of a X-ray unit. So uh, the main purpose of this one place so that the wounded soldier could be imagined within this car. Uh, so as I have said, the first mobile X-ray unit was invented by Marie Curie and team during the First World War. Okay, so what is a mobile radiography? A mobile X-ray unit is primarily used for bedside radiography and may also be used in surgical suite. Okay, so sometimes there is a great confusion between students that who have recently started this course, that what is the meaning of portable, what is the meaning of mobile. So there is a slight difference between a portable system and a mobile system. Actually, the study done with this equipment is generally termed as portable examination. So whatever radiographic procedure we conduct through this mobile radiography unit, in general we term this as a portable examination, but this is not a very accurate term. It should be rather said as a mobile radiography, not a portable radiography, but in very general use, we call it as a mobile radiography. So there are basically two types of units that are generally used in the mobile radiography within a hospital. That is CIAM mobile image intensifier and a fluoroscopy unit. So it is often more advantage. It is an advantage to perform a bedside radiography for patient in a special care unit or in orthopedic fraction or in isolation. But of course, the mobile radiography unit has some kind of limitation compared to departmental fixed unit. So as you can see this in these images, that these two are the pictures, the front two. On my left side, there are two machines. Those are a mobile radiography unit, and in the right of your screen, you can see that there is a portable radiography unit. So you can clearly visualize the difference between mobile and portable. Portable is something that you can dismantle it. I mean, you can take its X-ray tube, its generator, its other components apart, and you can take it from one place to another place, assemble it again, and perform your radiography. Whereas in mobile radiography unit, the whole system is fixed, but it is mounted in a certain kind of wheel so that you can take it from one place to another place within the hospital. So this is a very basic difference between mobile radiography and portable. Okay, so I'll continue with the previous slides. There are the few guidelines that you have to follow before you take this mobile radiography units from one unit to another unit within a hospital. So there are a few guidelines. The first guideline is that check the nurse in charge to inquire about patient condition. So any technologists who are very new to this field or this radiographer, students radiographer, whenever you go in a hospital for taking any mobile radiography, first of all, what you must inquire, what you must make sure is about the condition of the patient. Confirm the order in the patient chart if applicable. So you can look at the patient chart, especially in ICU. Whenever you go to ICU or any in other wards, you will see a big chart where a nurse, generally a nurse, a doctor will suggest the medications for the patient. You can see, look at the chart, and you can follow up accordingly whether the particular order entry has been made or not. So if it is possible, you should always confirm from the patient chart. The next thing what you have to do is always greet the patient if applicable. When I say if applicable, that means if patient is very oriented, patient can see you, patient can talk to you, then it's your prime responsibility that first of all you greet the patient with their first name. You should use a prefix like Miss, Mr, or like you can address it. For example, if I am a patient, then if you come to radiograph me, then it should be your responsibility to greet with my first name, like hello Mr. Nirola, hello Mr. That is that is how you make the patient comfortable. So this is a very first step that you have to follow, that always greet the patient. And the next thing what you have to do is confirm my name, confirm my date of birth, and looking at my identification band. You should not mismatch my name or my date of birth with any other patient. In a hospital, maybe there are two more Anupama admitted in a same hospital. So in that case, what you should make sure is I am the correct person who is undergoing your procedure, your radiograph. Okay. The next thing what you have to do is inspect and prepare room before bringing the X-ray machine. Now this is very important that we have to take into consideration before going for the imaging. For example, sometimes the mobile radiography unit is a bit bulky, so you must make sure that it fits from your door whenever you put your machine inside, or whenever you get your machine inside. You should make sure that you don't hit any part of the bed, part of the so it is your responsibility to figure out how the room's layout, what is the layout of the room, how patient is situated. You should make this preliminary planning before you bring the machine inside. So yeah, in the hospital generally there are these few care units like ICU, intensive care units, coronary care unit, a neonatal intensive care unit, post anesthesia care unit, we call it as a PACU, an emergency department, trauma unit, high dependency unit. These are the few units that where a radiographer is supposed to take a mobile radiography, and you will find a very diverse environment and condition in each of these units. So yeah, now I have added this picture. You might make it out that it is a bed sore. So the maximum possibility where you find bed sore is either in an ICU or mostly in this uh, dependency unit, highly dependent SDU. In case of SDU, where patient stay in a very long hospital stay due to it may be due to coma, or the patient with a long hospital risk, they will generally develop this kind of bed sore. So patient with a complete bed rest for a long period of time, or those who are coma, can develop a bed sore. Generally, patient in SDU, ICU develop bed sore. This can be adverse working condition for a radiographer. Yeah, for the radiographer who is just beginning his in the start of his career, whenever they will go to such kind of units and when they will see such kind of wounds, they might get a little bit frightened, little bit intimidated by looking all these scenarios. So the radiographer must be very mentally tough. They should mentally prepare themselves that they can work in such kind of scenario, and they must know the basic protocol in working such environments. Like whenever you see such kind of wounds, your primary responsibility is to clean the cassette before you place it. under the patient's body. It might be for a chest radiography, abdomen radiography, or what it can. With a spirit, with an alcohol solution, you should clean the cassette. You should keep the cassette inside a plastic bag. You know, there is a plastic bag where you can throw your biomedical waste. You can use such bags in order to protect your cassette too. And the next thing what you can do is you can ask for nurse to dress such wound, because if, without dressing, if you put your cassette uh, under the patient's chest or abdomen, he might feel the pain. So what you can say is you can ask for nurse to dress up such wounds, and whenever the patient is comfortable, when patient is not in a more paragraph. So this was the first condition where you might encounter. The next thing is treatment situation involving specialty equipments. Now, when I say the specialty equipments, what I'm trying to say is such kind of beds. You can look out. These are the ear beds. These are the pads, alcohol pads, and water pads. Generally, patients are kept in such kind of mattresses. So, whenever you are working in such kind of mattresses, for example, if you have to take a radiograph of a chest in this kind of mattress, what you have to do is alternating pressure mattress or rocking bed needs to be turned off during exposure to avoid motion artifacts. Yeah, of course. These beds, these beds are generally a vibrating, or these are the rocking beds. These patients are kept in such kind of beds in a correct position. So, what is the correct position? If the nasogastric tube is clearly visualized within the stomach of the patient, then that is a correct placement. So, in the right side, you can see that the nasogastric tube has gone to the other side. It has to be on the left side, but it has rather moved into the right side. You can clearly see that. So this is a very wrong placement of nasogastric tube, and it has to be informed to the concerned doctor that it has been placed in a wrong way or in a wrong anatomical position. For example, in night duty, if you are taking such kind of radiograph, and if you are able to distinguish that okay, this the nasogastric tube is not placed in a correct path or in a correct anatomical structure, it is a duty of a radiographer to inform the concerned physician, the concerned nurse, that the nasogastric tube is not in a correct place. This is what you have to look. So the next condition can be closed chest drainage. Okay, this is the procedure for a chest drainage. Whenever the fluid accumulates in your pleural cavity, it may be due to a variety of reason. It may be due to some kind of septic disease, or some kind of pulmonary disease, or it might be due to some CABG or some kind of operation. Whenever the fluid is accumulated in the pleural cavity of a patient, then generally this chest drainage is done so that they can suck out, they can, remove this fluid from the patient's pleural space. So this is what the scenario looks like. So whenever you go to this scenario, there are few things that a radiographer must make sure before they take the radiograph. Okay, used to remove air or fluid accumulated in the pleural space, that is known as chest drainage. And while taking a radiograph, these are the few things, these are the few notes that radiographers should make. Ensure that chest suction and drainage apparatus is not disturbed. Okay, now this on the right side of the screen, you can see that there is a kind of machine. There is a kind of a machine that is known as a drainage apparatus. This is a drainage apparatus, and this is a suction pipe. This is a suction pipe, and these are the bottles where it is filled, where the fluids is accumulated. So a radiographer must make sure that they don't disturb all these machines, these elements, whenever they are taking a radiograph. They should not go and bump, or they should not go and hit this equipment. They should make sure that they don't disturb this apparatus while performing radiograph. Okay. take care that the chest tube is not dislodged when positioning the IR for the chest radiograph. So whenever you are positioning the patient, again, whenever you are positioning the patient, you have to lift the patient. Now that is the hardest job a radiographer, can face whenever you are doing a uh, bedside X-ray, bedside radiography. So in that case, always make sure that there are few people around who can actually help you, who can actually help to lift the patient easily so that you can perform your task without hampering the patient. So you should make sure that, this chest drainage, whatever are placed in patient's body, they are not dislodged or they are not pulled from its original position while lifting the patient. This is what you must make sure. Ensure that drainage unit remains below the level of the patient chest. Now the next thing what you have to make sure is, this is the drainage bottle. You can see that these are the kind of drainage unit. These are the bottles where actually the fluid which comes out from the patient body is stored. So radiographer must not lift these bottles from the ground level. Okay, actually these bottles are filled by the help of gravity. These bottles are always kept below the bed level and the floor, so that by the force of gravity it will slowly drain into this bottle. So radiographer must not lift these bottles. If anyone tries or attempt to lift the bottles, then there might be probability that this fluid will return back to the patient's chest. So you shouldn't do that. There might be a backflow. So in order to stop the backflow, a radiographer must not disturb this bottle and must not lift this bottle in any case. Okay. So the next scenario might be the pacemaker. Okay. Whenever patients are placed within a pacemaker, you should make very sure that you don't elevate or abduct the patient uh, left arm for 24 hours after surgery to prevent dislodging the pacemaker and the catheter. So this is very important that if you are said that a radiograph of a patient with a pacemaker must be done, so what you must make sure is that you don't elevate the patient's arm or you don't abduct the patient's arm before 25 hours. Doing so might dislodge this um, pacemaker from its place, or it might dislodge other catheters from its place. So make sure that you don't lift the patient's arm. Okay, now the next scenario that what you can actually face is the placement of central lines. Okay, so whenever I say the central lines are generally placed from the patient's larger arterial structure, generally from the carotid arteries. You can make it out from the, you can, are able to visualize my arrow, my cursor. You can clearly see that this is the wire this is, I mean, a catheter that is being passed into the patient's chest or patient thoracic cavity from outside from the bigger arteries. So when in this figure also you can clearly see that the pulmonary artery catheter is being placed from this arteries, and it is being directly placed into the patient's heart, or you can see that it is being placed in a pulmonary artery right here. So Swan-Gus catheter is generally used. Swan-Gus catheter is a kind of central line and is correctly placed when it lies in the right or left pulmonary artery. Now this is very important for a radiographer. Generally, after placing the central line in ICU, they immediately call for a bedside X-ray. So what is the purpose of calling for bedside X-ray is to see that whether the Swan-Gus catheter is correctly placed within the structure, within the desired structure. And what is the desired structure? That is uh, right or a left pulmonary artery. So this Swan-Gus catheter is said to be correctly placed if its tip lies in the right or left pulmonary artery. Okay. Now, what is the function of a Swan-Gus catheter? Catheter measures cardiac output and heart pressure inserted through a subclavian jugular or a femoral vein. Okay, it can be inserted through these big veins. So, what is the main purpose? Is that it will monitor the cardiac output and a heart pressure. Okay, the another important catheter is central venous catheter. So this is a central venous catheter. You can clearly see this is a central venous catheter, and if you can see in the screen, this little this line, this white line running through from outside to inside the patient's thoracic cavity. This is a central venous catheter. This is how it looks like. Even you can see in the schematic diagram that this is the catheter that is being passed into the patient's heart. Yeah. So the central venous catheter, this is advanced into the vena cava through veins. Okay. So this is generally advanced into the superior vena cava from the bigger veins. So what is the purpose of central venous catheter? It facilitates the administration of long-term drugs. If any patients are kept in a very long-term medications, or in case of dialysis, or in case of blood transfusion, or drawing blood for and monitoring a central venous pressure. For these purposes, these central venous catheters are generally placed. So what you must make sure while taking a radiograph, make sure to position patient and tube correctly in order to show correct placement of the catheter in a radiograph. Now this is very important for a radiographer that you place uh, cassette your tube, and you should not rotate the patient. If you rotate this patient, in this image also it is slightly rotated. It is not you cannot take very 100% in a very accurate in a 90-degree. But what you must make sure is you don't rotate the patient, because if you rotate this patient, then the positioning of this central line might be seen different. It might be in a correct place, but due to your rotation of a cassette, your rotation, incorrect angulation of the tube, or incorrect angulation of the patient, this tube might be seen in the other places. Okay. So you must make sure that the position of the patient and tube is correct in order to show the correct placement of catheter in radiograph. Again, I would like to remind you that Schweinger's catheter is placed. The Schweinger's catheter is placed in a pulmonary artery, in a right or left pulmonary artery. So whenever you are ordered to take a radiograph, or you are requested to take a radiograph for the patient, in case where the Schweinger's catheter is placed, so it's your duty to know that it is being placed in a correct, in a correct anatomical structure. The similar goes with the central venous catheter. It should be placed into the vena cava, not very below, not in the level of atrium, or not high above the region of this clavicle. So there is a definite part or anatomical position where this must be located. So a radiographer must have the knowledge about these catheters, about the central line, that where actually they should end up. So if you find this catheter not being placed in the right position, again you can call to the to physician or to nurse, and you can say that this radiograph, this placement is not so accurate. You can go to the radiograph. So it is very important for a radiographer to have knowledge about these catheters and their placement. So the next thing is avoid rotation of the patient, as I have said. Okay, so we are almost in the end of the slide. So now this is a very recent, hot and current topic that we are facing: the patient in an isolated patient. Now, what should you do in case of isolation? Okay, so mobile radiography of isolation patient can be challenging. It can be challenging, and many technologies find it intimidating. Yeah, sometimes you might be afraid that if you are said to go and take a radiograph of any isolation patient, because you don't know the condition of the patient, what kind of disease a patient is suffering from. So you might often feel very frightened that to go inside or to take the radiograph. This is very common. But how we can eliminate that is, generally, there are three types of transmission that actually occurs. That is based on a precaution. That is contact based transmission, droplet based transmission, and airborne transmission. So whenever you are entering into the isolation suite or isolation room, you must make sure you can ask to doctor or a nurse, or you can look at the patient chart, and you must make sure that patient is suffering from what kind of condition. Either then the disease might be spread from contact or droplet or airborne. This is the first thing that you have to do. The second thing is the type of precaution depends upon a mode of transmission of specific disease. As I have said, like if, for example, the chicken pox or the measles okay, as a TB or an COVID-19, that whatever it is currently going on. So chicken pox can be a contact based, or measles, or you can TB is a airborne disease, or COVID-19 is it's an droplet infection. So you should first of all make sure that what kind of disease the patient is suffering from before you enter to the isolation room. So after you identify that patient's condition, what a radiographer must do is radiographer must be well aware about patient's disease condition and the mode of transfer before entering the isolation room, as I have said. The next thing is personal protective equipments. Now the personal protective equipments like mask, gloves, disposable gowns, caps must be worn by a radiographer. This is very important to wear these masks and gloves so that you make sure that you create a barrier between you and the patient so that the patient cannot infect you or you don't infect the patient. Sometime a radiographer also might can get a common cold or some kind of disease. So in that condition, if you don't wear mask or gloves or a gown, so that there might be a chance that rather you more infect the patient. So you must make sure that these all personal protective equipments, PPE, must be put on before you proceed any radiographs. Okay. So the another very important thing that what you must take care is lead apron must always be worn inside a disposable gown. Now this is very important. Whenever you take a radiograph for our radiation safety purpose, radiographer generally put on a lead apron. But whenever you put on a lead apron, make sure that it is inside a disposable gown. If it is outside the disposable gown, then that it makes no sense because the lead apron might get infected from the patient's droplet or it might come into the contact of the patient. In such scenario, your lead apron might be used by another radiographer. So the things will be transmitted. So in this case, our radiographer must always make sure that a lead apron is always worn inside a disposable gown and not the outside. This is a very important point that you must remember. The next thing is make sure you clean your cassette and mobile X-ray unit after and before you start any radiographic examination. Now this is important before you enter into the any not only in the isolation room. It might be in NICU. In NICU where the small infant babies are kept, they are also very highly vulnerable to the transmission of the disease. So in case, what you must make sure is you clean your cassette, you clean your mobile X-ray unit with the alcohol-based sanitizers, the cleaner you get, and even after and before you start or you end any radiographic examination. Okay, this is a very important. Okay, now there is a particular the process of taking off the PPE. Wearing PPE is up to you because these are the sterile clean PPE. First of all, you can wear a mask, after that gloves or disposable gowns or caps. It is up to you. But whenever you are taking off, there are the certain guidelines that you must follow. So while taking off a PPE, always start from removing your gloves inside out. It is important that you remove your gloves inside and out, from inside to outside, from sterile part inside to unsterile part outside. So you must remove in such way that the inside of the gloves becomes outside. Okay, it comes in the outer side. So first of all, always start removing your gloves inside out. After that, remove your gown. After you have removed your gloves in a proper manner without contaminating your hand, what you must do is you must remove your gown, after that cap, and wash your hands with soap and water before you remove or touch your facial mask. Now this is very important. Your facial mask should be removed at a very last. Okay, whenever after you wash your hands with soap and water, then only it is recommended that you touch around your face so that you can remove your mask without infecting yourself. So this is an important thing that a radiographer must take into consideration while examining the isolated patient. So don't touch your face without washing your hands. Apply alcohol-based sanitizers. Okay, thank you. I'm